I think the men in my family, at least me and my dad, only attract complicated women. And I wonder if that's a learned behavior or if it's something that is like in our genetics. It's also odd to me that my mom and my sister are also both complicated women. So that's what I grew up with. And if in some way that's what I'm attracted to through, I don't know, osmosis. I say this because I often like to reflect back on my past relationships to try to learn from them. And I'm even working on doing a thing where I don't bring up past relationships. Because I feel like every girlfriend I've had has complained that I bring up past relationships a lot, which I do. So I'm working on that not being a thing. But in the meantime, I think I need to get it all out. And so I'm going to do it via this video. So bear with the boy. So here's the thing. So if I look in my past relationships, none of them have ever been easy. And I mean, like, the girls that were like, oh my God, I'm in love with you. Oh my God, you're the greatest, have always been the girls that I will say they had it was some kind of struggle, I think it was probably its most pure in college. But even then, there were struggles. And I'm going to walk through each relationship and kind of tell you like what the issue was at each point. And at the very end of the video, I want to have some kind of solvent for why I am into these type of women, And so I'll tell you right now, before I even jump into the relationships, I'll tell you the kind of girls that I like and what I go for. And I'll even tell you the parts where it's probably like Freudian. So there we go. Meaning, like, as much as you aren't attracted to your mother, you are attracted to aspects of your mother. You are attracted to things that remind you of the people that brought you up in life, right? And I think for me, I grew up in a household differently from my sister because I was raised dually by my parents and my grandparents. So I have things from my mom and things from my grandmother that I think have shaped me to be who I am. Like, I think I'm more even keeled because of my grandmother. But I think that when I do get emotionally really worked up, that's my mom coming out, My dad's also very chill, like my grandmother was. But I think my grandmother also was like a version of my mom before she became chill. So I think I would have a little bit more of the emotional stuff that even my dad does. And I've learned to, as I'm getting older, kind of, keep things on a certain level. But it's like when I feel injustice is where it really strikes me. So just to start with, what I look for in a woman. I look for someone that's honest. I look for someone that is loyal. I look for someone that is adventurous sexually. You know what I mean? I don't need to put anything in my butt, but I like someone that wants to do stuff, I look for someone that is funny. I look for someone that is sarcastic, someone that'll give me crap, someone that won't let me get away with my own crap. Like, if they can see me and they know, like, okay, he's talking out of his butt, they got to call me out. I want someone that is silly at times. I want someone that also isn't too lenient, because that way, if we have children, we have a full disciplinarian situation going on. And this is how I've been thinking my entire life. It's not me thinking at like 36. I've been thinking this way my entire life. I once didn't date a girl full time, in part because I thought that she was too nice and she wouldn't be a good mother. No offense to her, but that's just how I felt. So I look for those attributes, right? I look for someone who is open-minded, meaning like, okay, you may not like something, but you'll at least give it a try. You may not like something, but you'll at least experience it with me. And if you don't like it after that, I won't pressure you. But I at least want someone that's willing to try the thing. And normally that's kind of what I go for. I like a lot of sass, like a lot of let's talk about each other, let's give each other crap, let's play around a lot. I'm very playful 95% of the time. 95% of the time, most of the things I'm saying are a joke. If it sounds mean, it's probably a joke because I'm not actually mean. But I tease, and I tease because I love, and I love because I tease. You know what I mean? And I've often found that hard to find in relationships. So let's just start with the girlfriend that I'll call Biffany. Biffany and I had an instant attraction to each other. She was really pretty. She was really goofy, really silly, really random, really straight laced. And I think that at that point in my life, I wanted someone that was like super straight laced. Like, didn't have tattoos, didn't, drink, didn't do any kind of drugs, was very, very like straight and narrow, good person, wouldn't, try to hurt other people, even if it was to their advantage. And she was probably the closest thing I could come to saying was a first love, but I wouldn't say love. I said heart, because I think at that point I was being shallow because she was a bigger girl. And I didn't necessarily want to be with someone that my friends made fun of me being with, because at that point I was still very insecure and wanted someone that my friends go, dang dog, that's you? Ooh, that's you, boy, that's you? Ooh, like you wanted that validation from other men. And while she was gorgeous, I wasn't going to get that from them with her, And so we continued to date and date and date. And I just wouldn't really ever fully commit to it. And it got to the point where, I was like, you know what? We can't do this. And I know she was hurt. So I said, we can't do this though. Right. And then I proceeded to pursue someone else. And that person later became my now ex-wife. And I think I dived head first into that one because she was sassy. She had a little shorter blonde haircut. She talked trash. She was kind of a bad girl, if you will, which I also think I'm kind of into in an odd way. Like, I want someone sweet, but kind of bad. It's weird, because I'm not like anyone that breaks any kind of rules, not anyone that really does anything wrong. But almost all the women I've dated have had potty mouths that they've changed for me, which I never asked them to. I think just through hanging out with me, they kind of feel bad cursing so much, so they kind of tone it down. But I'm like, do you, man? I always say the same thing: be yourself. But yeah. So she had the shorter haircut. She was kind of a little bit of a rebel. She snuck and drank at my Christian school where you're not allowed to drink. She went to parties off campus, which you're not allowed to do either. But I liked her for whatever reason, And then we dated, and then she ended things with me after our second date. Or no, before our second date, because she had went home and got a boyfriend. I sent her a mixtape in the mail, and she went and got a boyfriend. That's how my life went. Okay, cool. Then I want to say some months go by, and we're still in contact. And I reach out to her randomly. I don't even know what it was. I reached out to her, and I was just in a mood where I wanted to talk trash to somebody. So I just started talking trash, and I was not being myself, to be honest. I was trying to be more of a badass than I really was. And she was into that version of myself. And so we started hanging out again, And I wasn't being a badass after that combo. I just told her I was just talking trash. She was, yeah, it didn't sound like you. It was weird, but I was into it. I'm like, yeah. And we just started talking. And then before you knew it, we were having sex. And I hadn't had sex in 4 years. I hadn't had sex with anybody at all during college. Because I was, trying to be a born again virgin. But yeah, we started having sex. And then before you knew it, I was bonded because that was where I was getting the milk from. You know what I'm saying? And we hung out every weekend. But it was only on the weekends because I was, working and she was still in college. She had, I think, 2 more years on me, maybe 1 more year. I think 2 more years. And so she only saw me when I was free. She only saw me when I was fun. And so we had the idea of that being a functioning relationship. Also, that stage of my life, I was still very insecure, and I didn't think the girls liked me because after I got out of college, I started going on dates, or tried to go on dates. This is before dating apps were even a thing. This is when we just had to use OkCupid online, and I wasn't getting anything. And I would go out and try to talk to girls and get phone numbers, and that wasn't working for me either. So dating was a fail for me. So I just thought, man, going back to my old thoughts of oh, I'm just ugly, girls don't like me. That's where I was stuck. So I wound up, dating this girl that was basically the only person that wanted me. And I knew she wasn't everything that I wanted, but I thought she was all I was going to get, if that makes any sense. I thought I wasn't going to get anyone after this, which is clearly not true. And then we got married because we dated like, I think almost 3 years plus. My timeline's all off for everything, by the way, guys, just so you know. And so, the parents were like, her parents were like, yeah, what are you going to do? Are you going to commit? What are you going to do? Are you going to commit? So I bought a ring, and then we got married. Went to Hawaii, did the whole thing. And sure enough, after a year and a half, I kind of realized it, like, I'm not super happy here. And I know myself. When I'm happy, I'm very, very, very happy. And I just found us in conflict a lot. I'm not much of a fighter, but she and I fought, like, not a lot, but when we fought, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. And I would lock myself in my room sometimes. And I felt like, this is when I was doing YouTube heavy. And she felt like YouTube was more important than her. And I felt like she wasn't supporting me. And, like, I really thought at one point YouTube was going to be my career because I was kicking butt. I had won the Next Up contest. I was growing subscribers all the time. I got featured in several online magazines. I got featured on blogs. Everything that I tried to create and put out there was blowing up at different rates. This is before the algorithm screwed people over. But I was doing really well on the platform. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to become a YouTuber. And she's like, is this really what you want to do with your life? Really? And then, like, she tried to help me out with the videos, and then she would get sick of it and storm off. And, like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I say all that to say that, that was a volatile point in my life. And then I, after the divorce, decided, okay, I'm going to give myself some time to not have a girlfriend. I'm going to give myself time to be alone and process some things. So I did. I did that. And then I met a new girl who had the same name as my ex-wife. Just the first name, not the last name. And she was, again, more of this, like, homebody girl that also had, like, a bit of a, like, I don't know what to call it, a sassy streak, right? So she's like the girl that, we hung out at home a lot, and I was very satisfied with that. But to be honest, we also, like, slept together a ton, and that kind of helped pad the time. But again, she was this girl who, like, she's very quiet. She didn't want to open up herself emotionally to me. And that was difficult because, I think you can't really know a person unless they open up themselves to you. And I don't necessarily need my partner to tell me everything that's happening in their brain. It'd be nice, but, like, if you're going through some really, really, like, heavy stuff, I want to be able to be there for you. Like, I would often find out things second party. I would often find out things later that, like, she was having issues dealing with her dad. Or I found out later that, like, something really bad happened at work. She didn't come to me first. And, she didn't come to me first. And then, despite us saying we loved each other, we got to, like, a 2.5 year mark. And she's like, I love you, but I don't see myself married to you. Like, okay. It was like, yeah, like, I love you, but I don't feel like that tingle that I feel for a person that I want to be with. And, like, what tingle? Like, you gotta pee? Like, what freaking tingle do you feel? Ugh, so frustrating. And I always knew, though, in the back of my head it was that way, because I always felt like I was the one giving so much of myself and she wasn't. I felt so much that I was the one sacrificing and doing and loving, and she wasn't. That once I heard that, I kind of lost it. And I cheated on her, which I hate admitting, but I did. And that guilt drove me to break up with her. But I think also like I need to do it anyway because cheating or not, I wasn't getting what I wanted there. I never felt fulfilled. It was always like I was in panic mode until we hung out. And when we hung out, there was always an issue. Like we got into fights too. But it was never like day-to-day fights. It'd be like we go out and her roommate would go, "Hey, can we have a girls' night?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we're all here together." It was weird. That was a whole weird situation too, because her roommate was also like codependent on her a lot, and her roommate often would do things like when we had our first Valentine's Day together. Her roommate was like, "Hey, can I have her for Valentine's Day instead? We've always done this every year." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess. Okay." And of course, the girlfriend at the time was like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna go with my friend." And now that I know that like she didn't ever really love me, it was like I was a waiting period for her to figure out things. I get it. Then that moves me on to, I did more casual dating. I dated somebody that I really didn't like, but she wasn't ever my girlfriend. And then I met the next girl who you guys have met on this channel. You know who it is. Oh, wait, this is a new channel. So if you're coming from the old channel, you know who it is. But on this new channel, you may not know who it is. But we call her the love of my life. Now that I've had time away from that situation, I will refrain from calling her that because I don't think that's the situation. But I will say that she was goofy. She was funny. She was open with her like emotions, almost too much. But she also had her struggles because she had a situation where someone in her family had cheated on someone else, and that gave her trust issues. And that was her first boyfriend since those trust issues rose themselves. And she and a family member of hers and I had a lot in common. So she often would like look at me and see their sins. And so that became an issue. And also she was very insecure, as was I. But this created a situation where we would have a fight literally once a week. Normally around going out, normally around other people. When we were alone, like Monday through Friday, we were great. We had the best relationship, I would say. Minus the fact that I didn't have the banter that I wanted. Like I'm a big banter person, as I mentioned earlier. And she would always say that my jokes were mean. And I would always go like, "No, I'm just teasing you. I'm always joking," And I always felt the need to like explain myself constantly. But it just is what it is, man. Like I really tried hard to make that work, Like, fine, I don't have my banter. It's fine. I don't need my banter. It's okay. But deep down, I was always unsatisfied by that. I always wanted that person to go back and forth with. Also, to make matters a little bit more complicated, she wanted to wait for marriage to sleep together. And at this stage, I had been sleeping with, girlfriends pretty regularly. So they're asking me just to not do it. Like, that was difficult. But, like, you know what? I was at a point, too, where I'm like, I love you. Well, no, I didn't love her yet, but, like, I knew that she was someone special. Like I knew them, like by our second date, she was special. So I was willing to wait and figure it out. We said like we'll figure it out. It became a thing where we were waiting to marriage later. So I did that. I did. I committed to that. And so we had the lack of banter. We had the insecurities. We had the weekly fights. I want to say we maybe had like 2 good months where we weren't fighting, but after that 2-month period, we fought every single week. And they only got more intense. But we had so much passion for each other. There's so much emotion there that I don't think either one of us wanted to let it go. So we made the decision to move in together. And we did so for about 2.5 years, I want to say. 2 years, yeah, only 2.5 years. Maybe 3. Maybe we lived together 3.5 years. Yeah, it was 3.5 years. We moved in together right away. And that helped a little bit, but then the fights only got more intense as time went on. like more and more intense. And we moved to other apartments too with each other, and we started doing couples counseling. And the fights were always around the same things though. Like I saw her as the person I was gonna like do everything with and give up the rest of my life for. So I wanted to live it up as much as possible. So I was going out a lot, and I would invite her to come, and she wouldn't come sometimes. But I also still in the heyday, like I mentioned earlier, being a people pleaser. So I, at that stage, still very heavily would have plans every single weekend, Friday through Saturday through Sunday. I had a Sunday ritual where I went out with friends and I would drink. I would have a birthday party to go to in the morning. I have another birthday party to go to at night. I would have a dinner. I would have a friend coming in from out of town. I had something happening constantly, and it was too much. It was too much, and I know that now. But at the time, I was like, yeah, well, once we get married, this ain't gonna happen no more. Once we get to this other stage, this ain't important to me anymore. And I think that I was like kind of fooling myself. I think I was trying to tell myself that that was the case. But really, I think that it needed to change right there. Like, I did have every plan to, sink into the relationship fully. But by the time I got there, it was too late. By the time that I was ready to do what she needed me to do, I think the damage had been done for too long. And so we were getting into fights for no reason now. It wasn't like, because I totally stopped going out. I was in the house more than ever. And she felt like I resented her because I was in the house, and I was bored because I was in the house, and she wasn't good enough. And I did that. That was 100% me, because I spent years conditioning her to think so. When in reality, it was like, I wasn't really bored, but also, we'd be hanging out watching a movie and she'd fall asleep. And I'm like, I could be out doing something right now and you're just asleep. And now it happenstance, look back and go, that was quality time. Like that was us, laying together. And that was my time to be like, let me just rest. Let me just be here, And I didn't appreciate it for what it was. And so that one too, it ended. So we got to one of our regular fights. And I also did a thing that I know is toxic. It's where I would threaten the relationship. I'll go, I don't know if I can do this anymore, or I'm done with this, I can't do this. And it felt so real in the moment, but then 30 seconds later, you're like, no, I don't want to be without you. And I did it one last time, and she let it stick. She goes, no, I think you're right. I think maybe we shouldn't do this. And then I moved out for like a week so she could get her head clear. When I came back, she had made the decision that we needed to break up. And that one was hard because, it was really good when it was good, but it was awful when it was awful. Like the highs were super high and the lows were the lowest you could think of. Like it was scary how low it would get sometimes. And I know I can never be in that kind of situation again, which is why I think that I'm better off not being with someone who's as emotional as I am, or at least open emotionally as I am. Because I feel like that leads to a lot of problems if you're not careful. And so then that takes me to the next one. This is now it's another year to be single, do whatever I wanted. Didn't really, commit to anything. And then I met the last ex. And I was drawn to her right away. We were connected right away, but I felt like something was missing. And I didn't know it was because we were in a pandemic and it wasn't a real world, but I didn't commit to that right away. I wasn't seeing anybody else because, of course, who are you seeing during a pandemic? There's no one to see. There's no one to see. So she was my only exclusive person I was seeing, but I just felt like there was something that wasn't there. I couldn't put a finger on it. Like when we kissed, it was good. They were good kisses, but it wasn't that like, ooh, my breath's taken away. I gotta see you all the time. It was like, I'll see where this goes, kind of thing. And over time of being with one another, I grew to appreciate her. She was another one where she presented as very sweet. And I would say like, of all of them, she's like even closer to what I was looking for. But there was still that some factor that was missing. I don't know what it was. Like I don't think I was ready for her, and I don't think that she was the person I was ready to jump in like face first with. If that makes sense. Because she was another one. She was sassy. She was funny. She was sweet. She was a person that would take care of you. But I always felt like she was being less than honest with me. And I think that's because she was exploring who she was as a person. I think she was still coming to her own. We had like a 10-year age gap. And I don't think she knew who she was yet. And so I met her after she had been repressed. And she met me after I was still coming down from like the biggest heartache I had experienced, which was my ex. Like I went numb after that last ex. I went numb. I was like, I'm not committing to anybody. I'm just gonna like screw around for a bit, and just not have any real attachments, which is not me at all. I'm a commitment person. So fast forward to the, I'll call her pandemic girl. And over time it grew, right? And before you knew it, we said, I love you. And she said it first. I don't think I was ready for that, but it was what it was. So she said it first. And I was still like, yeah, but I still can't make you my girlfriend yet. You know what I mean? But I also felt bad because she had been through a situationship where she did this same dance for 13, maybe 18 months. I think 13 months. But I'm like, I don't want to do that to you either. So like, if I can't commit to you, I can't be with you. So yeah, we were together. We did everything together. It was great. I actually really enjoyed it. That's where I kind of, again, found that I really love being at home alone more than ever. That's where I found that I like don't need to go chase the party scene. Because even when the world opened back up, we barely went out. Like we were still in cooking. I prefer being in cooking to anything right now. And I know once summer hits, that's not going out the window. Like I want to entertain at my place, you know? And it doesn't need to involve friends, but I do want to have a partner, a person I can do these things with and share and explore things with. And that's where I think that I really found that the most was in this relationship, because that's what I enjoy the most about us, is that we could do anything together. We could hang out together. We could chill together. We could lay together. And we always had a good time. I never had that issue of I'm bored in the house with you, because she made everything exciting, you know? Even like let's just lay and hold each other times. They were still good times. So I knew that this was a quality person for me, but that it factor was gone. And now I totally understood the ex, going back to, that loved me, but didn't feel that ping. I didn't have the ping. Because I had the ping with the other girl, but not her. And I was mad that I didn't have it. I thought there's something wrong with me that I didn't have it. It may have been bad timing. It may have not been our time. But like there was just something not there, and I hate it. Because I think we could have made that work. But that less than honest thing was still there for me. And again, that my lack of 100%, because I know myself. When I am head over heels, when I'm in love with you, when I love you, I'm going 110% in. And I was giving her maybe 75%. And it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I wasn't motivated to. I just wasn't. And I don't know why. It's a whole host of other things. So fast forward to, us actually becoming official. Fast forward to her being my official girlfriend. And things are fine. They're not awful at all. She's great. I just still don't feel anything, or feel the thing I want to feel at least. And so I get to a point where I'm like, hey, like I'm not being fair to you, because we didn't really get into fights, but we would have these conversations where I'm like, I feel bad that I'm not giving you what you deserve. And she goes like, well, maybe it'll come in time. I go, well, I feel like it will be here already. And so I decided to end it one night. And it, it was hard. And I think we proceeded to have like a month or two after the breakup where we still were like kind of still seeing each other. and kind of like, hey, let's work on ourselves. Like let me go to therapy for myself and see if I can figure out why I am not feeling it with such an amazing person, and yet I was able to feel it with people that didn't treat me as well as you do. I was able to feel it with people that weren't as good as you are. And that takes me to the whole thing of like, do I just want complicated women? Like, she was very uncomplicated at the time. And yet it wasn't there. So I start therapy, and the therapist more or less says, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just didn't, she wasn't it. And your time was off. You guys reconnect later, maybe your time will be there. But it's just not there. Okay. So I'm like, all right, I guess then I'm ready to date. So then I go on a couple of dates, literally two different girls. And I had one that was like, wanted to jump in that lineup too and didn't even make it. And then I met the girlfriend I have now. And it was instantly there. That thing that I didn't have for the other girl was instantly there. Like, I knew there was an attraction there immediately. I knew there was a connection there immediately. There's a longing immediately. And she is by far the most complicated person I've ever dated. Like, I've dated some complicated people, but just the things she's been through, it's a lot. But it's still, like, it's funny because I think the other things I've been through along the way to get to her to prepare me for this. She is another one who is sassy, but she has the banter. We have really good chemistry. She's really fun, but we don't have a lot in common. We're very much the whole opposites attract kind of thing. Like, she curses a lot. I don't curse. Not that much, you know what I mean? She plans on getting a sleeve tattoo. Which I'm like, it is hot. It's hot. But it's not the ideal I have in my head of the person I'm going to be with. But I'm starting to realize that those ideals don't mean anything, Like, she's also super giving and super caring. And she's like actually a ride or die chick. Like, she's there for you. She also will fight and stab people. Not really. But like, but like, she is like protective of you. And there's just a chemistry that is there that I cannot deny. And I think long term it'll work. In part for me because I've done the thing where I date the girls that are super emotional, because she's not that emotional. Like, she's emotional, but she's not like share her emotions emotional. And I think that you need a middle ground. Like, you need to be able to talk about things and have a safe space for the person. But I feel like it's okay to not know every single thing, but still be there for a person. And I think she's in that camp. And I can learn a lot from that situation. I think my like big thing is that she also is afraid that she can't give me 100% of what I deserve, which has been a theme, huh? Done it all across the board, huh, guys? She doesn't think she can give me 100% of what I deserve. And I think she says that because she knows I deserve a lot. And she also knows she has a lot of herself to give. A lot of herself to give. And she's like, even now, I feel like you're not getting what you deserve. I go, I'm not getting what I deserve right now? Because I feel like you're giving me way more than I deserve. I'm like super duper happy, And so my thing is, I want to ride this out and see where it goes. Because I've never been in love this quickly. Like, I feel like I loved her by our second date. And then I told her on our third date. And she said, I want to tell you on our second date. And so, like, I'm afraid to lose this kind of thing. Because I know that, when you first meet someone, that those endorphins in your brain get everywhere. And they can really throw off the works. So I want to make sure this is real, first of all. But more importantly, I want to explore it to its depths. Because I feel like it is going to be complicated. And it's not going to be the traditional route. I do think that the girl before her would have been a very straightforward path to marriage, kids, great life, move to suburbs, be happy, boom. This is not going to be that. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of challenges. But I would rather go for the challenge than a thing that's just handed to me. And I think that may intertwine myself with wanting or having been attracted mostly to complicated women and women with a lot going on, where the path isn't straightforward. I often used to get frustrated with like a past relationship, and I would go like, why can't things ever be easy for me? Why can't I just meet the girl that like is beautiful, sleep with me, marries me, we have kids together, we have a great connection, we talk trash about each other, but in a fun way. But we know that love is the foundation for everything. And she's not a devil worshiper. Why can't I ever find that? And I realized that because those ideals come from the air. They come from an idea of what we deserve. But the reality is nothing is going to ever that straightforward. There will always be struggles in life. I used to be scared of dating someone with like a health issue. They're going to die before me. But for the love of God, man, I could die eating a sandwich. I could die walking down the street, like, and get hit by a car. I could be put in a wheelchair. And I'm realizing now that like those things are like very surface. And it's more important to invest in the person that you're with. If you feel a thing for a person, then jump in. Like, don't let odd circumstances throw you off. Jump in. You only get one life. And you may have other loves, but they're not as common as you think they are. Like, I've only felt this way for one other person, like to this level. And I know that. And I don't think I'm willing to give it up. Like, we've had issues where she's like temporarily for like an hour broken up with me because she thinks that I deserve better than her because she has so much going on. And she told me to run away. And I don't want to run. I'm not even scared. And she said that's a red flag, that I don't want to run. I don't know, man. I think sometimes people are brought into your life for a reason. I think sometimes the right people are brought into your life at the right times. I think sometimes things just work because they're supposed to. But I want to understand, though, why it is that these are the kind of people that I'm into the most. Like, this is when people say, like, when she says, like, you don't deserve me. I'm like, no, this is what I want. I want this. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I want this. Like, I see all of her positive sides right away, and I see all the negatives at the same time, and I still want it. I can list out everything wrong with her. I can list out everything great about her, and I want the whole package. Is that a problem within myself that I haven't dealt with? Like, is me wanting complication like some deep down thing in me? Because again, my mother growing up was verbally abusive. That's why I have an issue with cursing. My mom now is an alcoholic. But she's also like, for all her crudeness, because she used to curse at us all the time and yell at us all the time, for all of her crudeness and all of her verbal abuse, she was a very sweet woman. Like, she would absolutely fight people if she needed to. So maybe that's where I like badass women or strong women. But I also am repelled by the idea of someone that's going to call me out of my name or someone that's going to abuse me or abuse my kids. Like, I've tried to avoid that my entire life. But I still continually go after these women that are, I'll say tough. I go after these women that do have an edge to them. I'll say like the only out of those people I've named, maybe two of them didn't have an edge to them. So I don't think that's even it too. I don't know. I have a lot to think about. But I wonder if I'm alone here. And I wonder if you've made it to this 40-minute video. Because this is going to be what I'm posting. It's a raw, uncut talk around the kind of women that I've attracted over the years. And the question of, why are these the people that I want? Is it because I'm a Scorpio and I like fire and passion, but also being cared for? Does zodiac signs even matter? I don't know. Time will tell. But this has been Chris. And I don't know how I'm going to categorize this video. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I hope that you can learn something from my story. Hope that you can connect with the things I'm telling you. And I hope that you see value in it, because dating and relationships are never easy. Like, it's natural to love a person. It's natural to connect and have fun with a person. It's natural to support a person. But everything else that comes your way is going to be work. Some more than others. And the question is, are you ready to do the work? Is your partner worth it? I think mine is.